All right, I have returned, and we were gonna see what this does, right? So I had just gotten as far as typing in physics process, and Copilot started suggesting things. If placeable obstacle on recast is colliding, is that it is a real thing? Returns whether any object is intersecting with a raised vector, considering the vector length. And then we can get the collision point. Yeah, check that is colliding returns true before calling this method. Returns the collision point at which the ray intersects the closest object in the global coordinate system, which is what we're after. And then so we get that collision point. Why? Okay, and then we set the placeable obstacle to look at from position, moves the node to the specified position. Oh, in which case we don't need the line above, and then rotates the node to point towards the param target as per look at. I don't think I want to do this because we don't want to make the object like look at the camera. What we will need to do is, I think we'll probably have like a designated orientation that everything sits at. I don't know if we'll have. I don't know yet if the things that we are going to place into the world will actually have an orientation that matters. I guess at least the first thing that we have definitely does, because it's not symmetrical, right? So it's like a wall. So we probably will need some way to rotate. Probably what I'll do is, because we have 2 keys for rotating the camera, probably, I don't know if we'll have separate keys or we'll make it while you're placing, that instead of rotating the camera, it rotates the object, maybe. I mean, I'm sure that we'll have like a key map and stuff in this thing when we get that far. Okay, so when I run this, I click this, and then key cast 2 with type vector 3. Okay. Line 116, it doesn't like. So cast 2 is not a thing. Amazing. We want to have it oriented in a certain direction. I guess the easiest thing to do is just like go over here, stop, look at raycast, target position, the ray's destination point relative to the raycast position. So a relative vector called target position. So when it says relative, I take that to mean actually being a direction, not a position. Let's see if that is true. Wait, what did it do? Not this again. Okay. Sometimes this happens, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I'm gonna close Godot. I'm gonna relaunch it. That has happened a couple of times where it's fine. Like I can switch between the external editor and Godot and back, and it doesn't corrupt anything. But then let's run. Okay, that's fine. Click obstacle. We have mouse motion. I don't see anything in the world though. Another aspect of this is that as we move the camera, that should be another thing that should change It should be another trigger like mouse motion. Right, so when we are... How do we move the camera? Oh, we're doing this in process. That's my Discord, by the way. If you were wondering. Think about this. Oh. Should I... No. We can't just tie the recast to the camera. That's not enough. Because we want the recast origin to be relative to where the mouse is projected from the camera. Do we... This effectively means that we need to persist the mouse position, like this event.position somewhere, so that when we move the camera, we are recalculating this. Bar mouse position null. Oh, of course not. Just don't set it then. Project placed obstacle. And this should be, yeah, not def func. So it should be basically this code, right? Of like, okay, if there's a placeable obstacle, we get the origin and the direction, and we set the raycast, and we set the, okay, so all that. So then what on earth is it doing? Okay. So we want to do this. And that means that when we change the camera position, we also want to call project placed obstacle. Probably just at the end of all of this. Right, so whatever things we do here, we want to apply changes to the camera to re-project the mouse position relative to it. That way, like if we don't move the mouse, but we move the like where the camera is looking, that also updates like the projected location. Yes. Okay, let's get rid of that. And then so let's look at some docs. Oh, right, we have to enable the raycast. And of course, that's not going to do anything anyway, because we're not actually doing anything from the raycast, but we need to... we need to say if raycast... I guess here's the question, right? Is it I think we will just simply say enable is true. We're not going to be like, hey, if it's not enabled, enable it. We're just going to set enable to true. when we're here. So if there is a placeable obstacle, we will always set raycast to be enabled. And then we need another little bit of logic here where we I guess here's the thing. Instead of using physics process here, there's a signal on raycast, right? No. There is not. There might be a signal. No, I think that's fine. So we'll do this, and we'll say, hey, if we are colliding, let's print. So we at least see that this is happening. We'll see if it works. If it does anything. Right, so we click obstacle, and then nothing's happening. It should be happening, right? Because we should be projecting from the mouse through the camera and hitting the ground, but we're not. So collision mask on Raycast 3D is 5. A reminder, the raise collision mask, only objects in at least one collision layer enabled in the mask will be detected, right? So we need the ground's collision static body, no. There it is. Right, this needs to be on layer 5. And we'll leave it on layer 1 as well. So that was the missing, or at least a missing piece. There we go. Notice how the Y value is not changing because the ground is flat and it's at Y0. Okay, so if we... But we should see something there. Right? Because we instantiated a thing, right? Placeable obstacle. That global position is collision point. Huh. But we don't see it. What's up with that? Let's go over to obstacle to our mesh instance and give it a material. That helps. And then, let's see, what is it? There we go. We'll give a nice color. There you go. And then we run the game. And we click obstacle. And I don't see it. I should see it right there. Okay, that's not great. Obstacle has a script, right? But it doesn't do anything. What we will eventually want to do is have something where when we initially instantiate the obstacle, it doesn't have any kind of collision on it. And then once we place it, there should be a method on the obstacle that will like add collision and stuff too. But we probably want to make it so that when in placeable mode, it is like semi-transparent. So that, and maybe has an outline and some other stuff. I don't know, some visual effects. Give me 1 second. I want to check what the Discord message was. Probably about lunch. All right, well, we have a mesh. We can see it here. Why can't we see it over here? Also, I should choose a different color because that conflicts with our target. Let's do green. So placing obstacle at 100,086. Where is that? So if I were to take our obstacle and put it in here and set its transform to be 99, 0, 86. It'd be over there. Which would be visible. And that makes sense. Those coordinates are where we like move the mouse. Again, that was my Discord. Where we move the mouse off the screen. So that makes sense. Like if we look at this now, we can see it there. Why can't we see it here though? Why? Placeable obstacle, global position. Let's do this. So if I run this and pause it, F7. Okay, so if I click this, I move this to the middle of the screen, and I do 7. F5. Is this not F7? Are we not allowed to use pause running project F7? Doesn't work. Also, lots of debugger statements. Probably should just look at that, huh? Forget the function keys for a second. Oh, these are all from like spawning things. What else? Yeah, from the enemy spawner. Okay. I should probably figure out why we're getting all these messages. Might be worth figuring out. Main line 30. Condition not is inside tree is true. Returning transform 3D. On line 130. Oh, so when we instantiated the placeable obstacle here, we did not add it to the scene. So yes. Add. Isn't it just add child? Yeah. That's the problem. It's not in the scene, so we can't do anything with it. There we go. We can preview an object. So we're like halfway there. Now it's not real. It's not collidable, and we can't place it. That's the next step, is placing it. So let me stop here. Let's remove our temporary obstacle. Okay, give me 1 second to get an order going here. We'll probably carry on for a little bit longer because I would love to see us place an obstacle in the world. But I need to not have my camera or my phone on camera. Oh wow, my phone heard me. Well, not even heard. Spying on my Discord. All right. Okay. So I think the code that we had commented out, the Copilot provided, might be the thing that we need to actually do the placing. We're gonna look at that in a second. I just need to get this lunch order going. Otherwise, some certain someone will be upset that I am delaying lunch. But it's so hard to decide what to get. Oh, I know what to get. I know what to get. soon as I can find it. There we go. Yep. All right, now we're not waiting on me. All right, so let's see about placing obstacles. So can we just check in? We can check in physics process if action button is played. I mean, we don't need to necessarily do this in physics process. This could happen in process. We're doing this in physics process because the raycast only updates every physics frame. We're not actually placing it. We're just like temporarily previewing it at that location. What we want to do is inside of process, what we're going to do is we're going to say if place obstacle is pressed. Do we want to do it that way though? We're not going to have a key. We want to actually do like left click. Maybe left click can be assigned to that. Else. So in other words, if we are actually placing the obstacle right now, don't bother trying to update its location. Create obstacle is a function we already had, but we don't actually want to do this. What we want to do is we want to call a function on the placeable obstacle called place, and then the other thing we want to do is where we declare placeable obstacle, instead of this being a node 3D, this is a placeable obstacle. Yep, that one. And that's not defined yet, but we're gonna change that by all right, there we go. Go to obstacle.gd, and we're gonna give this class, and we're going to make a function called place. Yeah, that's true. And then we're going to just print placing. There you go. Yeah, sure. And then save this, close this, reopen it. Maybe. Okay. There is some lag, I think, between when we like update those files. Maybe we have to go back to Godot. And then back here. We should be able to refer to, yeah, see, it knows here that it's defined here, but the preview doesn't. Maybe we can reload. Refresh scene preview. Search scene script. Unlock, unpin. Focus. What if I say start? Maybe I have to stop first. Well, probably if I close in. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So, right. Well, I'm gonna keep this function right now as just kind of an example. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna put this code over here. And we're not using this yet, but this will be an example of some of the kinds of things we want to do where we don't need material, nor do we need the mesh instance. But the obstacle and the navigation obstacle 3D and the collision shape stuff, well, the collision shape should already be there. Won't use this, just enable collision. Mesh instance from box mesh from get the mesh info from to do. just want to put these notes here because otherwise when I come back to this, I am going to be confused. I don't. Okay. So when we we'll be able to place the obstacle when place obstacle is pressed. So what we need to do is in the project settings, we need to, in our input map, add a new action called place obstacle. And we're going to bind mouse button, left mouse button, to it. Save that. And then when we run this, theoretically, bam. Now it doesn't have collision, and because we have not done maybe some other things, the navigation's not going to respect it. You know, it'd be cool. Let's see. Let's is this what's the thing? Oh yeah, press this. There we go. We can actually see what's going on here in the world. So it is actually, they are going through there. Now, here's what's fun. I'm very confused now because of this unusual circumstance. Yeah. So we'll need to make it so that the navigation region will actually be updated. Oh, right. So the thing is the reason this is like this is that in the code, the actual stuff to affect the navigation mesh is in this code. So I think what we need to do, yeah, we do need the navigation region as a thing that's being received here, and that means when we call place, we pass the navigation region. And then what we'll need to do is we will need to from the collision shape, right? So what we'll need to do is like look at the collision shape of the object, create the obstacle vertices that are going inside of the navigation obstacle, and then pass that to navigation region. And that means when we rebake the navigation mesh, it will respect that and the agents will navigate around it. So I think like we already have evidence that that works, and we figured out like the actual like placing objects in the world thing. And I think from here we can just build upon this and we can actually start moving towards an actual game. And on that note, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to find someone to raid because I'm getting hungry and lunch should be here soon. So I want to say thanks so much for coming out to the stream today.